Hi everyone, it's Marcy Denning here from Stampin' with Marcy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ontario, Canada, and I want to thank you for pressing play on today's video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this beautiful Noel card using the Happy Holidays stamp set from the Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. Okay, so I have already gone ahead and stamped my bird and my holly berries. So let's get to coloring. My colors are the light polished pink, as you can see in my bird here. I've got just that hint of pink in through here. My inspiration for my bird was a purple house finch. They are a lot deeper in color, but that was what I went with. Okay, and then we have our light and dark gray granite. So first I'm going to come in here, and any of these highlight areas that we have in our image, and I'm only going to do one area at a time. Then I'm going to come in with my light gray granite, and I am going to color in and go over, and this is going to soften and blend that pink in. There are many different ways you can color this cute little bird. This is just the way I chose. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my dark gray granite, and I'm going to go over those light polished pink areas just to help tone it down, blend it in just that little bit more, as well as in the corner underneath where the wing would be sitting and causing a little bit of shadow. Then I'm going to come back in with my light, and this is why I pre-stamped, because I knew I was going to be adding quite a bit of color, and I wanted to give my lines time to dry. Now my bird is stamped in the basic gray classic ink pad. Sometimes I find that the tuxedo black is just a bit too dark and harsh for what I'm looking for my stamped image. So I'm just blending that until I'm just seeing that light hint of that pink, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to come back in to my back and head of the bird, and I'm just going to again be adding here and there. Now all of the measurements as well as the complete list of products that I used can be found on my blog. The link will be in the description box below. Please pop on over there so that you can get all of those. Okay, so not too much on there, just a little bit here and there to add. And then we're going to do the exact same. We're going to come in with the light and cover the entire area. Birds have so many different colors in them. They're never just one flat color. So it's fun to pick different colors from your stash of your alcohol-based markers and get creative. All right, so now I'm just going to go over a bit more, and then I'm going to come back in with my dark and where it might be naturally a little darker on the bird, and like the belly, I'm just going over. Now, if you live in Canada and don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that you currently work with, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. Equally, if you have a large Wish shopping list, I would love to talk to you about the Stampin' Up! Opportunity and have you join my Marcy's Sassy Stampers team. And then we're going to come in here, and right at the edge, I'm going to think that it's just a smidge darker here to give a bit of definition between the two areas of the bird. Okay, and right down in here, and then we're going to come back in with our light. If you love to color, this stamp set is for you. It is so much fun letting your imagination run wild and color. Choosing all those different colors that appeal to you. And the more color you lay down, it's going to change the tone and shade of that image. And I just want the hint is my end result. That I'm going for that hint of color that you can just barely see. And each time you do this, it's going to look a little different. All right, we're going to call that good. Now, my beak is colored with the light Daffodil Delight and the light and dark Pale Papaya, as well as those feet. So I am going to come in and lay down that layer. And then I'm going to come in with my light and layer that, not covering all of it, leaving a bit. It just changes that tone. And then right at the base of that beak, I'm going to pull in my dark Pale Papaya, as well as the top of the feet, the legs here and down here. And then I'm going to come back in and just lighten that, blend that color. And our bird is colored. And you'll see that in my completed card here, I have used a white gel pen. It is the Jelly Roll 10. I got these off of Amazon just to add that little bit of highlighting to my bird. All right, so let's move these aside, and now we're going to color in our holly berries. So for those, I have used the Old Olive, light and dark, the light Evening Evergreen, and then light Real Red and light Cherry Cobbler. Don't be afraid to mix your colors. Gives you a totally different tone. All right, there's my light down. And then my Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to go around that area that the Stampin' Up! Artist has given us those shading lines. And it just makes it look that much more intense. And then I'm just going to take my light Real Red and just along that edge of that line. There's our berries done. Now for our leaves. I am coming in and laying down my light Old Olive. I prefer to go light first, my full covering of my image in the light marker first, and then come in afterwards with the dark, and then back to my light to add that little bit of blending of those two colors to marry them together, so to speak. I mean, everybody does it a different way. It's whatever you choose. Some people prefer to go dark first. All right, so then I'm going to come in with my dark and just in those areas where we have those shading lines. And I'm more dotting it in some of these areas, not like fully coloring it. And then light again to blend that out. Soften that line so that it's not quite so harsh. And I am coloring as fast as I can because I know that watching somebody color is not always the most enjoyable thing to do, especially if you're a seasoned crafter who colors a lot. Now the light evergreen is extremely dark, so I am going to just come in here and add just a bit so that, you know, it really intensifies that color. And then our last area here. And you can see I didn't go over all of those lines that I did with the dark old olive because I don't want it too intense. And I'm just coming back in with my light and just dot touching it basically to blend those colors out. And by using both the dark old olive, the light old olive, and the light evening evergreen, you've created a different color, almost a different tone, a different shade. And we are done. I love the way that looks. It makes it more three-dimensional looking. Okay, so let's get all of those markers out of our way. Now we are going to stamp our holly berry on the inside of our card. Oh, and I forgot to grab a piece of grid paper, an extra piece. So we're just gonna right down here in the corner. Close that up. Now set that aside. So my card front here, you can see that I have the holly berry and it is stamped. I stamped it in the Versamark so that it was a lighter tone-on-tone type of look. If you don't have all those ink pad colors, this is a great way to get your tone-on-tone. And because my center panel is going to be here, I'm going to focus just along the outside here. And I'm going to move my stamp so it's not being stamped all in the same direction. And then the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Just going back and forth. And there. And you can see that that gives us that lovely border on there. Okay. I've already gone ahead and stamped and heat embossed my Noel. And I've actually already fussy cut out, I've pre-stamped and fussy cut out, colored my bird as well as two of the holly berries so that you don't have to watch me fussy cut out all of them. So now I'm just going to rather quickly cut this out, and what I do is I cut all the excess off so it's easier to handle. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to leave a little bit of a halo around and just follow the lines. And as long as you have a good pair of scissors, the Stampin' Up! Paper snips are amazing. They've got that nice sharp but short blade, so it's going to make it so much easier for you to handle and cut out. The trick is to not have too big of a blade on your scissors so that it's easier to manipulate as you're cutting. And we're just following that line, leaving that halo. You can go as tight to that stamped line or leave the halo like I'm doing here. And the more you fussy cut, the more comfortable you're going to be with it. Like anything, nobody is good at it right off the bat. Feel free to fast forward through this bit here. Now also, if you are not a subscriber, I would love it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I am trying to grow my business and my YouTube channel, so by subscribing, that helps me out immensely. Please leave me a comment, a thumbs up. Google really likes that, and they will then put my content out there more in the suggestion for you to people to watch. If I have interaction on my channel and people are liking, watching, and subscribing and commenting. Nice comments only. Please remember we're all human and nobody is perfect. And if you're not a fan of my style of crafting, I get it. We're not all everybody's cup of tea. And snip that off. There we go. See, that did not take that long at all. So let's assemble this card. We've got our base, which is Old Olive, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Sorry, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then this panel here is glued straight down. Remember to go on over to my blog so that you can get all of those measurements. You don't have to rush to write them down. You can color your inside holly or leave it the gray like I have done here. Now, my gold strips here. Why use an entire piece when it's not all going to be shown? So I cut mine down to a 1/2 inch strip. And what I'm going to do is I am going to add my glue to my cherry cobbler. This is embossed with the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. And I'm going to take and lay this over top. I can see my grid lines below through my silicone craft sheet so that I can be assured that it's fairly straight. I'm going to line that up, and you can make that as wide or as thin of a border as you would like. I think that looks good. That looks fairly even. So let's do that on the opposite side. I find it's easier to add my adhesive to my larger piece that I'm working with. So let's do the exact same thing on this side. This one is a smidge longer, so I will just take my snips. That looks even. And I'm just going to come in and snip that piece, and I can see just a titch there. There. Now this is dimensionaled up off of my card. You can see there, as well as my Noel and my bird and 2 of the 3 holly berries. And I do like my dimensionals. Here we go. These backings, they do get everywhere, especially if you have a pet. My little dog Maisie is always got them stuck somewhere to her, so you're just going to line that up so that it's fairly even on either side. And there we have that. And let's do our Noel. I should have had these dimensionals on these pieces ahead of time. And one there, one there, and then this one does not. So let's get this on here. All right, so we're going to put our bird like that so that we can visualize where our Noel is going to sit. So Noel is going to sit right there, right in the center of the panel. And I'm going to add my gel pen after so that I'm not making a big mess and smearing it. Okay. So now we can just come in and we're just going to add a few little highlight flicks. Just here and there, just to add that little bit of visual interest. Not too much. Okay, that looks good for my bird. And then you just have to decide how you want your berries to sit. And I'm thinking, and I'm just going to butt it up against there and give that a press. Come in here, and where the lighter part of the berry is where I'm adding my bit of the gel pen, and I'm just coming along here and adding a bit. I think it just adds that fun element. It just, I don't know, it just adds so much to it, I think. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with this one. I'm going to push it so until I can feel that it's hitting my sentiment label there. And there, and then my last one is actually glued straight down. Actually, let's add, because we are gluing it straight down. So we are gonna add this, and then I gotta be very careful so that I don't touch it and end up smearing it. You can see it just adds that little bit more detail. So I'm going to be very careful and just hold the end, add my glue right in the center, and I am going to, let's bring that in so you can see. I'm going to take this and slide it just like that. Take my bone folder, give that a press, and there's my second holly berry under this area here. And then the last thing we have to do is add some of those pretty gold metallic pearls. So here we go. It just adds that final little detail. And I like to use liquid glue to ensure that my embellishments are not going to come off. And there we have it. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to head on down to my blog by clicking down in the description box below. Leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.